If you'll be sharpening tools and need the closest tolerances possible, hard-inch 5ST 4-split collets provide the best concentricity possible in a 5C collet. With a 4-split design and a deeper throat, hard-inch 5ST collets can hold concentricity within 5/10 and better. Hard-inch 3-split collets are a close second best, providing concentricity between 5/10 and 1/1000. Other 5C collets can be used. Please consult the manufacturer. The height of the stylus needs to be set first. The height is to be kept at the same height as the center line of the air-bearing spindle. This is critical. If this setting is incorrect, then your end mills won't cut properly, as the clearance angles will be off. To check the center height, place a setting pin in the air bearing by using a 5C collet, and then raise the stylus to the pin. Using a clean 5C collet, mount the collet and the end mill in the air spindle. Tighten the drawbar, ensuring that the end mill will not come loose. If your collet is dirty or out of tolerance, or if the air bearing's inner surfaces are not clean, this will affect the concentricity of your end mill. Maneuver the stylus inside the flute of the end mill. You want the stylus as close to the outside edge of the end mill OD as possible, without being too far out, so that the grinding wheel will come in contact with the stylus instead of the end mill. Tighten the set screw. Check the OD of the end mill. And obtain the primary clearance angle listed under first grind for that diameter from the clearance angle chart on the front of the machine. Crank the clearance adjustment handle and raise the motor spindle until the proper angle is set on the vernier scale, which is on the side of the motor. If you are machining harder materials, you may want to adjust this angle to 1 or 2 degrees less than the angle given on the clearance angle chart. Materials such as aluminum would require increasing the clearance angle 1 or 2 degrees. We have an optional pneumatic finger attachment available that eliminates cranking up and down of the motor to set the clearance angle. The pneumatic finger is shown later in this video. Using the machine's X and Y axis handles, position the stylus directly in front of the right edge of the grinding wheel. The middle of the stylus should be in front of the high point of the grinding wheel's edge. Position the stylus roughly a ½ inch, 13 millimeters, in front of the wheel. Slide the indexing ring all the way to the right of the air spindle and lock the set screw. To avoid denting the spindle, don't bear down too hard. Place the end mill on the stylus as far right towards the shank end of the end mill as it will go. When grinding end mills with the right hand spiral, you will always pull the spindle to the right. Never push the end mill to the left, as this will cause the end mill to jump on the stylus. It is very important to keep the end mill on the stylus at all times while you are grinding. If the end mill jumps, this will cause gouging on the OD. When pulling the end mill during the grinding process, you want a slow, smooth movement to obtain a clean finish. After positioning the end mill on the stylus, turn the motor on with your left hand. Advance the grinding wheel until the wheel touches the OD of your end mill, and then feed another 2 to 3 thousandths. Pull the air spindle to the right, being sure to keep the tool on the stylus, using a slow, steady movement. It may take a little practice to get the feel of this. After you pull the end mill off the stylus, rock the air bearing back towards you and position the next flute on the stylus in the starting position. Slowly lower the air bearing back down onto the wheel and pull the end mill back as before. Repeat this with all remaining flutes. For a little better finish and to compensate for wheel wear, if you're using a bonded wheel, you can take an additional 1/1000 cleanup pass on all the flutes. We suggest that you take an old end mill that is no longer in use and practice pulling the OD a few minutes before resharpening your good cutter. Once you've got the feel of this down, the rest is easy. Set the angle on the motor spindle veneer accordingly. Proceed to grind the secondary in the same manner as used to sharpen the primary. To save time, the best way to do this is to grind one secondary clearance angle on one flute until the width of the primary angle is the proper size. Then proceed to sharpen the remaining flutes. Be careful that you don't take too much off and wipe out the primary or burn the end mill. The secondary grind is only necessary if the primary is too wide. It is not a necessity to do the secondary grind if the primary is already ground to the width desired.